And thank you for making this a priority. I think we should. I also want to thank everybody for all of those of you that managed to fill in the survey that was sent out yesterday. I know it's very late notice, but just would love for you to even answer it after this. I think it will still be useful as there will be preparation, for the meetings in October. Yes, so I have a team with me. It's a small task force for now. We realize it needs to be much bigger and probably divided into different sections later on in preparation for October again, and just for the future in what do we do with our DTSs. But thank you, Lisa Whitaker, for being with us. She is, many of you would know her. I think, yeah, there you are. You're with us from Dubai, is that right?
Yes, I'm in Dubai, teaching in a D school right now.
And you have been working with the field of Europe for how many years?
Probably over 20, yeah.
Over 20 years, yeah. So Lisa, she is the representative for the International DTS Center, and she has served us faithfully for many, many years in giving in with, a lot of staff training for DTSs, giving leadership, part of the overall leadership for DTSs. So super happy you're with us. And she'll be a part of leading this morning as well. She's both a pioneer.
Sorry, I just said it's great to be here.
Thank you, Lisa. She's also a pioneer. She's worked with leadership for many years on many levels. She works with Christian Formation Center. She's a trainer, a master teacher. So she's really comes in with this broad spectrum of expertise. And we have Ian with us. Thank you, Ian. You come to us from Herrnhut. And Ian, he's passionate. He's a passionate base leader. Oops, not that Ian, but I'm sure he's passionate as well. Good to see you, Ian. From Herrnhut, he works with the DTS Center as well. Yeah, that's more like it. Hey, Ian. Passionate base leader and passionate DTS leader. How many DTSs have you led?
Altogether 19.
19. And you're still excited about them?
I could do it forever. So
sweet. Yes. May you multiply according to your kind. And we have Belinda with us. Of course, she is the champ of Central Europe and a convener there, also a trainer, a master teacher. She's part of the European Leadership Learning community, and we could say so much more. You want to say hi?
Hi, everyone.
Great.
Thanks, Tove.
You're welcome. Yes, so we are going to look at DTS, and if we can go into this section with hope in our hearts for the future, for the DTS, we should be leaders. All leaders should be leaders of hope, but leaders also need to live in reality and just work out of that reality. And I guess that's what we have been trained to do in this COVID season as well. So I hope we can just take a good and honest look at our DTSs. Oops, I like to share my screen with you here. And this is, we will have a conversation about this topic, and it will be an ongoing conversation over quite some time, I would imagine. So it's a conversation starter. It's not a draft, it's a conversation starter. And I hope that after this meeting, we will leave with some tangible things that we can do in the future, should do, things you need to start doing, things you need to stop doing, possibly. And just have a great understanding of where we are at right now with the DTSs. We will go into breakout groups, as I said, and so this is just a conversation starter, really, to get our to kick our brains into gear, on that topic. I think there's this quote we have heard over and over again: "As goes the DTS, so goes the mission." Darlene said that, and she has said that, and she keeps saying that. And I just made a quick Google search, and it showed over 4 million times it's said on the Google knows it, you know, so many times in the Google search. I was just amazed at seeing that. So if that is true, then some of our nations and bases will be extinct in a few years. We talk about extinct species and stuff. But I think if we are to just look at the DTSs and look how the DTSs are going in some places, it is our food chain, we can say as well. That's why our DTS, our staff, I mean, I don't need to tell you all that. But if we just sit with that, you know, then okay, God, we need help. Other places are thriving, and we will look at that also this morning. Why are they thriving? What are they doing? What could be some of the causes? So in some ways, we're going to take the DTS for a medical checkup this morning. And we hope to find out a little bit more of the condition where the DTS is doing well and where the DTS may need some type of a cure, need some help. So how are we doing? As I said, some are seeing great increase in numbers, but that's not unfortunately true for the majority of bases and DTS in Europe. Now, is that a correct statement? We can just make a little check up here. Martin, would you throw up a poll? Let's just see. Let's see how many of you would say that you have more students than 5 years ago or less students than 5 years ago. Thank you for filling this in. Let's see who wins. I realize that, of course, there's also some new pioneered bases that just started, you know. There's some locations that didn't exist 5 years ago. So it's not an accurate, you know, poll or survey. We need to do more work than that. But it will just give us a little indicator. Okay, so that's the indicator for now. Many more specific questions could be asked. And I think that will happen also over the, I guess, the next, oh, sorry, didn't you see that? Now you see it. Is that right? Can you see it now? Yeah. So now please don't get hung up on the word numbers. You know, some of us don't like numbers. It's like that doesn't speak of the quality. We are talking about growth, and that is true. There are always, there's ways to measure both quality and quantity, but we also know, oops, I can't make the poll go away, make it go away. But we also know that if you have a good quality school with good numbers, it will not stay with the good numbers if the quality goes down. Then the numbers will also go down. So they are attached somehow. But if we for now can just stick with the word numbers, as they do indicate something for us. Numbers do matter, as we really do want to see all peoples reached with the good news, and we want to see also all nations discipled. So if you then take a look at our issue, we have worked some also in Northern Europe. Andreas Norley and I, we have been wrestling with this together with our DTS reps in the north, and some of the leaders. We are just looking at this. What can we do? So some of this comes from there. But I think we need to, for sure, be able to state the problem. As a mission, we are not always that great in taking time to evaluate and debrief, because we are simply so busy going places. But if you're just, you know, holding our breath this morning and doing some debrief and evaluation. So what is this current state? Actually, this is not, this looks very business-like, and it is. So we throw this on, problems, we like to call them challenges. And that's a good word for us. We have a challenge. We are not doing this alone. It is together with the Holy Spirit. And we lead out of hope. We know that it's a good future because God only has good things for us. So let's look at it with out of a place of hope. First of all, we need to believe in our product. You know, that's the DTS. I think, don't we agree that that's a great product? Can we get thumbs up? I mean, we have all been transformed and we are all here because of the DTS. It's awesome. So we have this incredible product, we can say, incredible life transforming thing that God has given us. We are making God known to people. I mean, God, unexpected transforming love in raw measures. It's the ultimate lover and transformer of all people, you know, meeting people through this DTS. So we have a fantastic product. So why are our numbers going down? Why are we not getting, if you can say it like that? If I look at just the survey, and again, thanks to you that filled it in, here are the top 4 of what was said. You know, youth in our nations are not aware of who we are and what God can do through a DTS. That was number 1. The low numbers are a result of not being in touch with youth of today. Youth are very different today than when I did my DTS, and I can't say I fully know them or understand their loves and their concerns. Our marketing and communication is too weak and irrelevant. Our DTS staff are lacking an annual cycle. It's like when they are not working with the DTS, they are not working with youth. So people are not getting to know them, you know, and vice versa. Staff are not passionate about reaching youth the rest of the year. And fourth, the DTS has become DTS-centric, that it's about the DTS, running a DTS for the sake of a DTS, detached from apostolic vision and pioneering drive. And we had another question asking, how do we respond to the low numbers? Do we call it a crisis? That was one of them. And here the top answer is, we call it a crisis. So, okay, if we do call it a crisis, we got to do something about it. A friend of mine was recently diagnosed with cancer one day, and he was having surgery the following day. So if it is a crisis, if we do have a diagnosis, we ought to do something about it. I have just a little fun one here. You can just play with it in your head. It's like, I think there's some lies or half-truths that we like to believe about DTSs, and we know lies, they cost lives. So never mind about beep, marketing, you just need to pray more, fast more. That's probably true, both of them, but it's not one or the other. If we just get 4 students, then God just wanted us to have 4 students. I played this, you know, with the DTS workshops, and some really believe that. You know, that's kind of a split thinking of, you know, reasoning and revelation. God is more about quality than quantity. No, he actually wants numbers. He wants both. A DTS with 4 students are great, then we can have real quality. Well, we actually find that usually you get better quality with bigger numbers. So yeah. Another thing is, do we talk about marketing or mobilization? I think the answer is yes. Some of us, we are, I think there's something that some of us have stopped doing, or maybe are not doing enough. That's this first part up there. That's actually mobilization. We are outreaching and talking to people. And then after that, you know, we do nothing, you know. Okay, so that's marketing that is missing over there. Telling that we actually are running a fabulous DTS, inviting them. Secondly, you have a student that is born, and then we have no interaction with them, and we just bombard people with communication, with marketing, and say, come and do our DTS, you will love it. And the potential student will say, how do you know? You don't know me. So that also is lopsided. So we basically need to do more of both, and of course market and communicate in the right way. Just a few more here. This is a picture of a heart. If it's not that obvious, it is. A heart is a part propeller. It's like I move to what I long for and what I want, right? If you have a girlfriend, a boyfriend, or a spouse, you know, your heart goes after that person, and somehow you will find out to travel there and go after that person, for instance. But here we are all wanting to go somewhere, and we are pulled to what we want. So the potential student is not just being pulled for a DTS, it's like, why? It needs to be something they want. So DTS exists for the sake of the DTS, because that's my ministry. That doesn't cut it for a student. And this doesn't cut it for a student either. And they can smell it on a long distance if we try just to get them in because we need more staff or more money, you know, to cover our expenses. That doesn't cut it either. No, they are going for what's on their heart. They want life. They want identity, destiny, purpose, and being pulled in to be part of possibly, I think, reaching God's end goal, beauty, art, and abundance, as what's his name, Sky Yatani would have said it. So drawn towards something. But I'll stop here, and I think we'll just go into groups, into breakouts for 10 minutes, and take a look. And I'd like you to keep this in mind, that we have right now, we take the DTS as our patient. We take it in for a diagnosis, for a medical checkup. That's our present, where we at, and talk about it. Also talk about, how did we get here? It didn't just happen. What happened or didn't happen? What did we used to do that we stopped doing maybe? What's the cause? How did we get here? And then future. What do we need to start doing, stop doing, change doing? Like find a potential course. And I think there might be one course direction we can start already tomorrow. So is that clear? That is this medical checkup that we will talk about in the breakout? You can take your own situation as well, but I think here, as we are together as European leaders, we take a bird's eye. You know, we'll look at what is going well. We'll look at that later. So if you just look at what course direction we need, take that for now, and then we'll look at the hope a little bit later. One thing you may also think of is if there's any places that we are detached. Could it be that the DTS is detached from apostolic drive and vision, like where the base, where the ministry is going, is detached from that? And also, could it be that we don't really know them over here, understand them, or that there's not enough mobilization going on that they will even get onto this one? Yes. So let's break into the breakout rooms, and you can write things in the chat as well when we come back. Just write things that stood out to you. We may hear from a few of us afterwards. Yeah. You may want to take a picture of this, but otherwise you probably have a mental one. But let's go into groups and wrestle a little.
Can you guys hear me? Hi, everyone. Hey, just to encourage us for 2 seconds before we jump into the panel, DTS is absolutely amazing. I know that we all believe that, and all of us have done our DTSs, but I just want to agree with Tova. There is so much hope for the future and so much that God wants to do to bring transformation to Europe. And I know we believe in DTS, we believe in our DTS. There's so much work we can do. Quality can always grow. And I was telling Tova and the team the other day, I was like, why do we want more people in our DTSs? Because we actually believe in it, we fight for it, and God uses it to transform nations and lives. He's done that for all of ours, and he will continue to. And so for me, I'm like, let's be excited about DTS. Let's like make it a huge deal. It is a big deal. And be the first as leaders to be like, yes, come on. We don't want numbers just to pay the bills. We want to grow because actually God is moving in the nations and we're a part of it, and we want to welcome them into that. I know you guys believe that. But for the panel this morning, I just invited 3 people from different locations to share with us, and wanted to ask them a couple of questions. So we have, for the next few minutes, Jan Torlen from Norway, who's going to be on the panel, if you want to pin him up. We also have Jordan Weatherson from YWAM Lausanne, who works the training in YWAM Lausanne. And we have Jordan Stanley with us from YWAM Herrenhout. And she helps lead training there and is currently leading a DTS right now. And we invited these three to share because we wanted to ask them, well, what are ways just over these last couple of years for Jan, Jordan, and Jordan, that you have seen growth, that you have seen success, that you have seen this moving happening at your location. And just wanted to give you guys a chance to share that so that we can learn, that we can glean, that we can maybe get some tools from you or reminders or perspective as we across Europe are looking to grow and see, okay, how do we do this? How do we grow in our DTSs and be the best we can be? So as they're talking, you guys, if you have any questions for anybody on the panel, when they say something, feel free to write it in the chat. And I will do my best to not look like a squirrel or a cat looking back and forth, but feel free to write those questions. And if we can get to them, I'll put them in. If not, we'll see how we can answer them afterward. Does that sound good? Right on. So Jan, Jordan, thank you guys for your time. I know Jordan are joining us from outside the meeting, and asked them to come and just share a bit of their perspective. But yeah, is that okay, guys? We can just start with whichever one of you wants to go first. Just the next 3 to 5 minutes. How have you seen growth and success in your DTS at your location?
I think that the DTS is so much in core with the vision of YWAM to know God and make him known. So the whole school is the design for that vision. So for me, we started a base in Rogaland 15 years ago, and we really had a vision to go. We dig the mission well and go. And so we designed a DTS. We actually go around the world spreading good news, doing discipleship, and people really responded to that because it was a clear vision. It was exciting. So, and I think for me, it's always been like making a DTS so exciting that I could join it or my kids could join it. So, and then out of that, actually, there has grown out a mission movement. Some of these people, they have stayed on, and others have come. So now on the top before COVID, we have had over 30 long-term missionaries all over the world. Now it's shrunk a little bit, but we are on the way up again. So our vision, we have an apostolic vision, and we make the DTS fit into that. So it's not isolated, but it's work. So now we are kind of working with, we see the numbers of Norwegian going down or they go abroad. So we are try not to be too discouraged. So we try to engage, open up the base. So we have to adjust, get out of the YWAM bubble and just say, okay, come and visit us. Make it, and our vision is to be a home for young people. So thank God things are changing. So people are starting to phone us and say, can we come with our youth group? Yeah, come. And we train you and we give a taster. And they say, we want more of this. Yeah, you can come on DTS, and it goes so easy in that sense. So I'm slightly excited about this, but I think really the key is you have to have a heart for young people, but you have to be visionary. And the DTS is not only a means by itself. I do think the DTS is in the core of YWAM to know God and make him known. That will be my starting thing. And I think as base leaders, I've done this mistake. I've done the DTS stuff, and we leave it to young people. So when I started the other base, my last base, I repented from that. I actually led the DTS. I was out there on the field. I was sleeping on the floor with 16 people, snoring and speaking in tongues at night, and all the hardship. But that's how you win.
Wow, amen. I love your passion, Jan, even just your excitement, of just being able to go for it. And I love the point you made too. As a base leader, you're just jumping all in. Being there. I think that what you're saying, just that all inness, that the DTS is part of the whole thing, and that excitement, that's incredible. Thank you.
It works.
Amen. Amen. Jordan, either one.
I think I can jump in. Thanks for inviting me on, Ian. A few things that changed for us as a base. A few years ago, we kind of revamped our communication and how we do our promotion and so social marketing. And that really helped. That brought in a lot of connections with people. And then one of the key things we tried to do is create this whole category in our student services and comm team called student mobilization, where we spend a lot of time responding to emails, responding to phone calls, and really being proactive. As soon as we get a phone number, we call them, we try to move the application through in a short period of time. And that's really helped really draw people in. And we know our goal. We phrase it around Luke 10:2, that there's a massive harvest out there and we got to do whatever we can to just get people out there. And so if they're interested, we want to feed them the information. So that's been probably one of the things that really helped. Not just kind of being like, well, we'll wait till they get the application and all the references and leave it on their shoulders to do, but we kind of go after them. And then our base leader, Marcus, is just really pushing us to consistently innovate and learning the categories that we can innovate in. We're not going to innovate around curriculum like that's set. That's amazing. We don't want to change that maybe on how we deliver it, but really innovating on our outreaches and trying to make those as exciting as possible. And sticking to what's core, not shifting away from that incredible anointing and not trying to make our own stuff, but in the areas where we're free to make our own stuff, really innovating as much as we can. And knowing that when students go home, they'll talk about the lectures, but they're going to talk about outreach experiences, maybe even more. And so really trying to listen to God and see where we can get them out into the nations where they're pioneering a ministry, really pushing the envelope there. So yeah, I don't know. That's kind of what we're doing.
Right on. That's amazing. I love how you're just innovation, creativity, pioneering, thinking outside the box, vision. I think that's incredible. And I think that's so key for DTS, even with what Jan was saying and how you guys are doing that, is where are we going? What's the purpose of it? And how are we actually seeing the generation where they're at and going for it and doing what we can? So I think that's amazing. Thank you. Right on. Jordan, Stanley, would you like to share?
Yeah, cool. Thank you, Ian, also for inviting me on. I love DTS. I love young people. I was saying this in my breakout group. So I love that we're talking about the relevance of youth and all this stuff. Yeah, but just some things that came to my mind. I've never staffed at another base besides Herrnhut, so I can only speak about what I've experienced here. But what I hear a lot from our trainees of how they ended up here, even our current school, where I'm like, why did you show up in the middle of a pandemic? Like, why did you choose DTS now? Actually, a lot of what they say is they either have friends that had a positive experience, or they spoke to someone on our base and found them relatable. And I think those are two really big things, especially in, a younger generation that craves relationship and purpose, is that they find out DTS through relationship. And so a lot of that process is also, Jordan, like that you were sharing even about like the application process, is bringing discipleship into our application process, that we're quick to call people, quick to walk through, actually, why do you want to come? Like, what is God speaking to you now, even before they show up? And then people are attracted to that because they're attracted to the relatability of we're inviting them into something. And then this whole thing of word of mouth, how is that being spread? And when I was thinking about that, we do a lot of media on our base. It's growing and we're learning a lot. But kind of the two big things with that is that in our media, we're not just trying to promote schools, but we're trying to give a representation of life and missions. And not just adding to the noise, but actually talking about, this is what it looks like. This is us having fun outside. This is us having deep conversations. Again, is it relatable? Is it, is it showing that there's purpose to what we're doing? And then the other one is that we go kind of on mobile tours and actually meet people. So we visit people that have done DTS before. A lot of this is through our fire starters tours. It's ministry on the base. And we connect with people that have done it before, and it just spreads word of mouth that way. And I think, when people can see someone in front of them, like, oh, this is what you're passionate about, they catch that, it's that like impartation of I love DTS, I've done DTS, would you want to do it? So I think those are a couple things. Another one, which I don't know, this might be controversial or radical, but I would say practically making it affordable. Like trying as much as possible, how can we make it affordable for people, especially in nations that it's difficult for them to do a DTS. We have a girl from Romania in our DTS right now, and she came with barely any of her finances. And in the first 2 weeks of the school, we prayed with her. She saw all of it come in, and she would have never taken that step if we hadn't walked through that process with her. And so I think that's a big thing, as well as how available are we making it to everyone everywhere. And then just communicating that it's more than a means, but it's actually, there's something in DTS that God wants to use to show people their purpose and their value and who God is. And I think people are attracted to that. So that's just a few things.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. That was really great, Jordan and Jan. And for time's sake, we don't have a whole lot of time to go into questions, but I would encourage you guys, everyone listening, that if you do have questions about what Jordan or Jan said, to please feel free to reach out to them. We are YWAM, we are all in the same team. We can champion each other and encourage each other to go for it, even in a season that is a great challenge. What can we do and what is possible? And so thank you, Jan and Jordan, for sharing that hope with us very practically. You know, and I'm sure we can always say, yes, we're prayerful, but I love how that passion, excitement, that innovation, that pioneering, that relationship, and speaking to the actual, what are you truly speaking to? I think that's important. And I think that as we go forward in this time of life that we're in, that how do we find solutions? How do we move forward? How are we obedient to what God has called us to? And not just sit around and wait for it to fall out of the sky, but how are we active? Because DTS is amazing. God is changing nations still through it, even in COVID. And whatever we can do, how are we all in? And I love what you three shared, that just because things stop doesn't mean we stop, but what can we do? So my encouragement, even in hearing this, is let's not compare ourselves to each other in weird ways, but let's recognize we are all invited to learn forever as long as we do this and beyond, and to make the most of our time. Yeah, so
a new wave is coming. A new wave is coming. We believe God for a new wave.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Come on.
I'm with you.
I believe that. Nothing impossible for God. I'm sorry. I'm getting excited. I will mute myself.
Me too. Me too. Okay. Hey, thank you guys again. And yeah, I appreciate you taking the time to spend with us. And yeah, you guys, please feel free to contact them. I hope that's okay to say, for any connections. Thank you, guys. Tova, back to you.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Please give them a hand. I just did up there. There you go. Just brilliant. And as I said, we want to have some task forces going on afterwards, different ones. We haven't fully defined them. One would, yeah. And some of you will be contacted. There was just in the panel. There's many more that we could ask. So please indicate also just in the chat if you would like to be a part of a task force. I want to share just one more screen with you, and that it's, oh, did it just change here? Okay, here it is. From the UFN, we have identified 4 things that all larger DTSs have in common. There's probably more things, but these 4 things, at least, they've in common. There's a presence of God. I mean, we should have that everywhere, but Tom Bloomer called it spiritually attractive, you know, that there is a live presence of God. They prioritize staff training. So staff are being trained well, they're being equipped to do what they're asked to do. They minister to young people before the DTS, also what we call mobilization. There is a reaching out and a ministry there. And they prioritize marketing and communication, making the DTS known. Yes, they actually answer the mails, the calls, and everything immediately. You know, so that was just 4 things that we can change just immediately, you know, or move into, and seek to find ways to communicate in the right way. The methods just keeps changing. But I'll hand over now to Lisa. Take it away, Lisa Whitaker.
Yeah, thank you. So I just want to double check on the time. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take some more time back in those breakout sessions. I thank you to everybody who shared. I think this is just the tip of the iceberg. As Tova said, this is kind of a conversation starter that we're trying to do. And I think, do you have those questions, Tova, on a slide that you can share?
Yes.
Or so we just
yes.
two things that we wanted to have you talk about when you get back into those teams. And really the first one is we really want you to be thinking about how can you personally in your area of influence, your leadership connection, how can you connect more with this generation, and in what ways can you take additional action in mobilizing this generation for the kingdom? So that's both mobilizing them into DTS, mobilizing them through DTSs out into what they what God is doing around the world. And so I think what we're wanting to see is have each of us ask that question: what can I do with my team, with my group, with my acts that will help get more young people to understand about DTS, be excited about coming into the kingdom? So that's one of the questions. And then we would really like for, whoa, what happened there? I don't know what that is. So,
sorry. It'll come in a second.
The other thing we want to do is we want to take some time to pray for the DTS. So I don't know how many of you were connected with the Malachi group that met last week, but Lynn Green brought a really strong word about just intercession, our foundational stone of intercession, and we want to continue to pray for our DTSs, pray people into the DTSs, pray people out of the DTSs into all areas of all the spheres, all the kingdom building that we can do. So that's the question, is try to take it personally to you and discuss a little bit. I know some of you are working with youth groups, which is great. We talked in our group about the importance of connecting with churches. And are we really in touch with the young people who are potentially coming to the DTSs? So I'm not going to share any more. I could be sharing this for an hour, but we need some time just to talk individually. So we're going to break out into those sessions again for about 20 minutes, and then we'll come back. Yeah, I don't know how your discussion was, but ours, we could have kept going for another hour with just thoughts and ideas, and we just barely got started even being able to pray. So we really wanted this time to be a jumping off point for discussion and for just everyone thinking about how can we move forward with the DTS. And so I think Tova, Ian, Belinda, and I have been talking about just what can we do to follow up on this so that it's not just a drop in the bucket and we go on and do something else, but that we really do come back with, are there some task force? Are there some ways that we can get together to have some discussions, some concrete paths to move forward? So if any of you have ideas or thoughts of how we can do that with this large of a group or in the different acts areas, please feel free to send us your thoughts, your ideas, because we really do want to follow up on this. So yeah, I don't know if the rest of you have any comments about that, but we don't want to just drop this right now because I think it's so important.
And as mentioned before, we will have some task forces, and some of you have already indicated you would like to be a part of one. I think there'll be different ones, and it's something to wrestle with also in the future leadership meetings and gatherings that we will have. I think we have decided in the North, and the next gathering we will have, that will be with the DTS staff and leaders together with base leaders and leaders to really wrestle with this together, because I think these two things, we need to have a conversation together, not just apart. and build some strategies there as well. And I think, yeah, this conversation will be part of forming our conversations in the future, for sure.
Yeah, and please keep an ear to the ground. We were planning a Europe-wide gathering in Hungary in August. We're not sure if that's going to be able to take place, but we have a real desire to bring the staff and from all of theirs, and we would include base leaders, anybody who wants to come and join us in really wrestling with some of these issues. Just keep your ear to the ground about that possible gathering, and if we can't do that gathering, we are going to do it as soon as we can. As soon as COVID allows us to, we will gather as a larger European group, but then we will also be having some small gatherings region by region, and so please just be aware of that also.
And just don't forget, we've got 35 people that have filled out the survey. Thank you to everybody. I would just like to say well done to the CE people. You are in the lead right now. Keep it up. But yeah, all the other regions, please fill out that survey. It's going to be really important for us moving forward.
Lisa, I think that this could be really helpful for a lot of the DTS staff and leaders that aren't on this meeting. Is there any way that this could be edited down just for the video portion of our discussion of the DTS, not the breakout rooms, but just the content and the questions and the things that were presented could be easily accessed?
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, I personally don't know how to do that, but I'm sure Martin does. Or somebody that could edit that down, but I don't know. We'd have to talk about that, Steve, but that's a good point.
All righty, can I step in again? Is there any last thing that needs to be said to wrap up the DTS subject for today? Because we are drawing near the end of the morning.
No, just to say thank you for your participation and all the comments, and keep them coming. So thank you.
Great. Well, thanks to Ian, Tove, Belinda, Lisa. That was very significant for us and the future of our mission in Europe.